Hello there, and welcome to another Starfield video. Today, I've got a pretty nice little build. It's been a while since I've done like a specific build of a ship that's not like tied to the Freestar Navy or anything like that. And with the last like couple of probably last week or two, I've been building a lot of like subscriber builds and stuff. And it's gonna make me want to like build again. So, a little heads up. This ship that I've built makes use of the new merge technique that was discovered recently. I did a video of it. So it has a lot of like merged pieces, but I feel like most of the pieces are quite. Um, it's not too. Whoops. It's not as heavily merged as some of the other ships I've done. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is the Wren Shuttle. As you can see, it's quite small. I'm a big fan of making like tiny ships. I think one of the first like kind of tiny ships I did was it was like my 1,000 subscriber special, or maybe it was like a 500 subscriber special. Actually, it might even be less than that. But I made like a tiny ship, and it like was really done really well. So yeah, with the new merge, I've always wanted to kind of keep making them because I quite like the idea of like the small tiny ships get as close to like a kind of a fighter or like some sort of a small shuttle as possible, and this kind of fills that role. So the kind of the naming and the lore behind it, it's the Wren Light Shuttle because the Wren is a bird. I like to kind of name a lot of my ships based around like birds or stuff like that, just flying creatures. And the kind of the my headcanon reason or my lore behind it is that this was initially a kind of a light shuttle that was used to transport like small amounts of cargo and people to orbit and back. And it was kind of like like a kind of outdated tech almost, like it's kind of older. And then it was picked up by a third party manufacturer, and there was like modifications made to it kind of to kit it out, make it a little bit more useful. So that's kind of why, yeah, that's the lore behind it. So it obviously has weapons and stuff, which we'll go into the details, but it's primarily meant to be kind of like a ship that can get you kind of anywhere, but you're very limited in your kind of like the amount of cargo you can carry and even the passengers currently, because it's been kind of retrofitted a little bit. Anyway, so it's got a fuel of 210, which is kind of the bare minimum fuel I operate on usually. So that's like more than enough fuel to kind of get you from A to B. It's got a hull of 780, which for an A class is quite good. It gets the job done if you need to brawl a little bit. Cargo capacity is 750. Now, I wanted to add some extra cargo just because I feel like this is meant to be kind of like a multi-role ship. Like it's meant to be used by, like almost if you imagine like, like a first-time pilot, they've saved up a load of money and they can't really afford to buy the latest Stroud Eklund ship or the latest like Deimos, and like they find like this type of ship and they kind of modify it a little bit so it's got a little bit of cargo, which I think it kind of those little cargo containers kind of complement it. It's got 750. Now, you could obviously modify it a little bit better. You could swap them out for shielded cargo, which would bring the cargo down a little bit to probably like 360, I think, shielded cargo, but it would make more sense for smuggling. It would also this would kind of make sense as it being a smuggling vessel because the profile is quite small, so it could like theoretically land anywhere. So it's got an A-class reactor, 26 power. It doesn't have the best reactor available, but that was part of the reason like of designing it. Like I didn't want to give it kind of the best of everything. Crew of 2, which is kind of expected. This thing isn't really meant to house many crew. Although you can, like there's some seats and stuff for, you probably fit like a couple of people in this. When I tend to run it, I run it with just Andrea. It's got a jump range of 28 light years, which is very nice. If you were to cut the cargo off it, you'd get up to 30, but 28 is perfect for a ship like this. It's got a shield of 810. I believe it's got one of the better A-class shields in the game. I think the best, if I'm not mistaken. And then for weaponry, it's got a pair of laser weapons mounted underneath the wing, and it's got a pair of ballistic cannons mounted on top of the wing. Now they're kind of designed in a way they clip a little bit, but the barrels are completely visible, so there'd be no like issue with that. And then in order to make this ship, it costs around 160 to 170k without perks. So yeah, let's purchase it and let's get into it. So here we have it here. So as you can see, it's quite small. Its profile is it's 3x1, kind of maybe like 3x2, depending on if you're looking at it. So obviously we've got the Nova Galactic entryway there, and then we've got the cargo capacity or cargo bins, and we've got that Nova Galactic, the big Nova Galactic landing gear. Now there's a bit of clipping in the back here with these like side thrusters, but once the thrusters are firing, you can't really notice that too much. And then we've got the kind of bigger engine. The whole kind of idea behind it is like, even though like in this game you don't really have afterburners, but I kind of like the idea of this being an older vessel. So like those that big engine on the like in the middle is like your kind of your afterburners, the kind of the engine you would need to break atmosphere, and then those smaller engines are more like your maneuvering engines for like when you're on in a planet's gravity. And then we've got the weapons obviously here. Like I said, a lot of merging with this. I merged this. This still functions all well and good. The docking port, I just merged it in just because I feel like I like the docking ports, but I kind of wish that there was like more inbuilt docking ports just to not, you know, fiddle with it. But it doesn't look too bad. And then there's our weaponry, as you can see there. The weapons are ballistic on the top and lasers on the bottom. Anyway, let's hop inside. So very limited space inside. We just have a 1x1 companionway, docking port there, and then we have the pilot seat.
And just what is on your mind?
So we got my my two co-pilots here. My co-pilot Sarah, and then my navigator Andrea. So let's take it off. I really like this cockpit, and I really like the Nova Galactic. As you can see there, the Nova Galactic cargo bay. So I've been trying for like quite a while to make a ship that can kind of make use of both of them without being necessarily large, and I feel like I did a decent job. I know some people might not like the merging, but this is kind of one of the ships where, like, for the most part, a lot of the merging is just kind of like to add the cosmetic, like to make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. Let's see how she performs. As always, I have a perk that increases my power by 5. So for the sake of this review, we're not going to be using 5 power. I'm just gonna pull from that. So weapon-wise, we've got those laser weapons mounted on the bottom and the ballistic on the top. Boost speed is going to have a boost speed of 150 because I'm using A-class engines, or base speed, sorry. Got a boost speed of almost 600, which is very nice. Quick agility test. This thing is very agile. It's got 100 agility, as you can see there. It doesn't feel extremely fast, but it's got max agility, mobility, I should say. A little yaw there, and then the roll. Yeah, that's the general kind of flight of it. Now we're gonna go down to the planet. I will show you how to make it. Alright, so we've got the ship split into all of its various parts. I'm going to go over all the components you need. Most of the ship you can build in your outpost. There is a couple of things you will have to go and get, which I will kind of go over as we talk about. So for the habitats, we have the Armstrong 20R cockpit from HopeTech, 260 cargo and 2 crew. We've got the NG6 landing bay from Nova Galactic, the extender port 200 docker top from Tayo, the HopeTech companionway 1x1. And then over here we have the NG20 landing gear wide from Nova Galactic, 4 landing thrust. So this you have to get a Titan. So there's like different versions of this. It's the base version, it looks like this. And you want to basically get this version just because they all have the same thrust, but this is the bigger one. It looks nicer. And then we've got 2 of these 200 cm ballast cargo holds from Sexton Shield System, 245 each. 500T helium-3 tank. For the weaponry, we have 2 of these Singe 4 megawatt pulse lasers from Lightside, A-class, 1625 range, 3.49 fire rate, 22 shield damage, and 4 power. And then we've got two of these KE-31A autocannons, A-class, 1625 range as well, 6.65 fire rate, 19 hull damage, and 4 power as well. For the structural pieces, we have two of these Horizon weapon mounts, two Deimos Wing A, a Deimos Spine C, and a Deimos Spine D. And then for the the kind of powered modules, we have the 60S protector shield generator from Dogstar, A class, 8 power, 810 shield. We have a Helios 400 grav drive from Deep Core, A class, 9 powered, 27 jump throws, which gives us 28 light years in the current config. We've got the 380T Stellarator reactor from Amadon, A class, 26 power, 42 reactor health, and 715 hull. We've got a White Dwarf 3030 engine from Relodyne, A class, 33 power, 21,930 engine thrust, 3210 maneuvering. And then we've got two of these White Dwarf 1020s from Relodyne, A class, 3 power, 8850 engine, and 2625 maneuvering. So let's get to work on building it. So the general layout is just going to look something like this. Just going to kind of build the kind of the main profile first. So it looks like this, and this obviously would sit here, and this on top. Now we're going to start with the the more difficult part, well, not difficult, is the merging. So basically what we're going to do is these components here that I'm going to show you, there's 5 of them. These are all going to be merged inside one another to fit there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the fuel tank. We're going to put the fuel tank there, and then we're going to put this above it. Now, I've showed this merge techniques before on my channel. I've done videos on it. There's a kind of an extended merge tips and tricks video and guide if you want to check that out, but I'll kind of give you the brief synopsis. So with this technique, basically, if you make use of a... Normally, if I was to try and merge this down, it would merge. One item would merge down. Like, this would merge down fine, but if I go to add more items, like, let's say I wanted to add this as well, it wouldn't play nice. So let me just prove that point. So if I did that, and then I can't merge anything else into it, which is a bit problematic. So basically, what you can do, though, is if you group items together, so for instance, if we group these two items together, and then we duplicate them down, you can keep merging items as long as there's, like, a space available. So, I don't know exactly, like, why this works the way it does, but I'm assuming that it basically, like, only checks to make sure there's no space for one of them. So again, we put the reactor down, and we're going to connect to this companionway. And then we're just gonna... Oh, now that's being a bit finicky. We need to drop this here. Because we need a snap point, basically, for it. And then we just... Like so. It's being finicky. Give me one moment. This is kind of one of the kind of the bigger issues. I'm gonna merge this reactor actually first. So we're gonna do that again. Just because the reactor and the grav drive are one of the few objects that don't have a... They don't have, like, a snap points on all sides. So we're just gonna... And then we're gonna duplicate... Sometimes it'll duplicate up, which is perfectly fine. And then we're just gonna duplicate down, like so. And then we're just gonna delete the other one. Oh, not that one. Whoops. So now we have the grav drive and the reactor. Now we're gonna do the fuel next. Where did my engine go? Hold on now. Whoops. Did I delete my engine accidentally? What do my engines? Did I really delete it? Alright, bear with me. I'm just trying to figure... There we go. I don't know why I deleted that. Let's move that quick. So yeah, we're just gonna slot this inside one another. gonna snap. You just want to snap it down. Now, obviously, like I was saying, you need like a... There needs to still be a snap point to it. So, for instance, with this one, this is going to be like our snap point. And then, obviously, you can... With all these kind of this technique, you have to have like kind of a scaffold, as they call it. So we're going to grab them now, and we're going to duplicate. And it's not wanting to play ball. Why are you not wanting to play ball? Oh, whoops. Is there something merged inside that already? There we go. So this is this one you can just simply you can merge it by just pressing Y on it. Anyway, on to the next one. Once you have like two objects there, that's when it gets a little bit trickier. So we're just gonna highlight them, and we're just gonna basically snap down. Okay, so I do a quick jump there, just because I was figuring out what was going on. So the reason it wasn't actually snapping was because I didn't have it lined up properly. This wasn't actually snapped to the rest of the vessel. It was off to one side. So now that's been done. So I've just kind of redone all this just to make it as like explain as much as possible. So we just we snapped the reactor in, and then we put the landing gear underneath, and then now we're ready to do the snapping. So like I was saying before, you just want to have a little kind of a scaffold. And I usually like to have a gap of like 1 between them because some of the pieces don't snap cleanly, and then we just sometimes it'll snap up, but that's fine. You just want to grab it again, highlight both of them, and there we go, and it snaps down like that. Perfect. And then, whoops, we're going to keep that one. And next we're going to slot this one in next, and we're going to just grab it, same plan as before, snap it up. There you go. Now it's working nice and easily. So yeah, just make sure that it's lined up, like it's actually snapped onto the vehicle itself. And then gotta get this white dwarf engine now. This is kind of why I like to leave a gap between it, because as you can see, there's like, it'll fit between that, but it won't fit between the white dwarf. So we're just gonna grab these. Then we're just gonna snap it down like so. And then finally, we're gonna snap the shield on top of it. Now we have effectively inside this 1x1 space, we have our primary engine, our fuel tank, our reactor, our grav drive, and our shield. So next we want to attach our engines like so. And then we're going to want to attach our ballast cargo underneath. And the only other merging you need to do, which, well, there's 2 more methods, or 2 more techniques. So the first one obviously is, so we're going to attach our weapons like so. They're just mounted on horizon weapon mounts. You can use whatever weapons you want here. I kind of went with a kind of a simple layout, like nothing too game breaking, because it isn't really meant to be primarily a combat vessel. The next we're going to have to do is we're going to have to mount these in place. These are going to basically snap to there. So what we need to do is we need to get a high snap point to let them snap to. So we're going to have this item here. We're going to come back a little bit. And these are basically going to snap one each side like so. And then we're just going to grab this, grab these 2, and we're just going to duplicate. And it'll go up first, which is fine, and then just highlight them again, and then down like so, and then delete these. And now it's nice and merged in. And then the last kind of like technique is going to be the Deimos. So we have our little tail piece here, or like our spine. Now we want to snap this bad boy in here, but obviously it's not going to play nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to, once again, we're making a little kind of a scaffold to kind of force it to go exactly where we need to go. So we're just going to put this piece up above this so that it sits higher, so that it's in line. And then we put this here. And then all we're going to do is we're going to grab it, combine it with that piece, and we're going to duplicate it. So it'll go up and then just go again. It'll duplicate down and then like so. That is the vessel. That's it there, done. Now, obviously, if you don't like the clipping of these side engines, you could definitely remove them. And then once you remove them, like, there's very minimal clipping at all. Like, even these weapons here, even though they clip, they don't look too bad in terms of, like, you know, the layout of them. But yeah, that's the vessel. Let me know what you guys think, because I know these, like, tiny ships generally do quite well on my channel. Let me know you guys what your guys' opinion is on this, and also if you guys have kind of made. I know some of you, like I know Mike has made like some small ships too. I've kind of reviewed one or two of them, and I've got more on the way to review. It was actually when I know I've said this quite a while, but quite a few times, but it was when I did his like first review that I realized how to do this merge technique. But yeah, just it'd be interesting to see like what your guys' kind of opinion is. Like, do you guys prefer smaller ships, or do you prefer like larger ships that can fit, you know, more like it's more like a kind of a more of a Millennium Falcon and less of a Ghost from Rebels, or the Phantom, not the Ghost, the little small ship. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to check out some of my other videos, and also subscribe if you like this sort of content. Bye bye.